You want to know what happens to your body when you die and go to heaven. My name is Dakota Lee. I was born as early as I can remember with a gift to see the world beyond this one. I was 8 years old when I saw angels for the first time. I was 10 years old when I saw Jesus for the first time. And when I was 12 years old, God did something even more extraordinary with me. He started inviting me to visit heaven. And I have kept a hold of these stories in my heart until just last year, 2023, when he told me, well, I learned I was brave enough to finally share them online. First of all, when you do pass away, your physical body obviously has passed away and goes through the normal decay process. But when you go to heaven, your spirit goes through a transformation. And the best way I can describe this is you still look like yourself, but you naturally become the age of yourself where you felt your best. And for those that died maybe younger than they would have wanted to, they can also grow in heaven. The best way I'll illustrate this story is when my grandmother passed away. We were all obviously heartbroken. I mean, she was in her 90s. It was still a little unexpected. And I remember being on the phone with my mom and my aunt as we were making funeral arrangements. And I was just starting to get overcome with emotion. And I don't know what it was. I kind of felt a spiritual tap on my shoulder. And I look over and there was my grandmother. It's very rare that I talk to anyone who's passed on, but there are times where God and Jesus have allowed it. And for my grandmother, this was one of those cases. She taps me on the shoulder and I see her, and just warmth floods my heart that, I only got around my grandmother. And she said in the sweetest, kindest voice, Dakota, I wanted to show you something. And I watched as I saw her age backwards. She went from with wrinkles and short, curly, blue hair, and the wrinkles faded. Her face filled out with youth and a little more flesh. And her hair went from white curly, it straightened a little bit, and actually straightened a lot, got really thick, and it was almost black. And I had never, believe it or not, I had never seen pictures of my grandmother in her 30s. I'd heard stories about her, but I'd only seen pictures of her when she was already a grandmother. And I saw her, and with the kindest expression, she said, Dakota, I wanted you to see this change in me so you could recognize me later. Because there was no way I was going to recognize her. Well, that conversation with her finished. I back to my mom and my aunt who are still talking. I just kind of had been withdrawn for a moment. And I asked my aunt, what did Mamar look like when she was younger? And she described her as having very, very thick, nearly black hair. And I wouldn't have guessed that because that's not what I have going on. I've seen a lot of these transformations, or God has shown me these kinds of transformations for people. And I think he shows me the stories, not just for my own benefit, but so you can have a sense of comfort of what you're facing when it comes to passing away. When we get to heaven, our spirit it goes through not just the looks transformation, but you also drop a lot of what you had been carrying that was so heavy on earth. And some of this, while you're on earth, you can figure, and you come to understand God and his freedom. But even as much as that is, there's still so much heaviness on earth. And when you go to heaven, you drop that. You have to drop that. And not everybody goes to heaven because not everybody is ready to drop that and surrender the way that Jesus taught us. There's so many topics to go over in what I just said, but know that not only do you age backwards, you get your health again, you can walk, you can run. I think you can see colors that you've never seen before, and you do really experience a joy that can't really be matched while you're on earth.